Welcome back to part 4 of our Alpine Adventure 2024. We left you in part 3 on top of the San Bernardino Pass, and that's where you join us again, having a good wander around.
Wowza, what a place.
Wow.
Andy? Shall I put my little piece of experience? There we go. Right, after a long video, about 6 minutes long, just a very quick 360 view over the San Bernardino, I can't even pronounce it, Bernardino Pass. It's absolutely stunning. That will be interesting. You step on that snow and you are it looks shallow, but it isn't, believe me. Last time when we came over here, or near here, we used tunnel to go through the Swiss mountains. This time a lot better. We came over here. Very nice. Very nice, Andrew. Well planned. Oh, guten Tag.
Guten Tag. From the San Bernardino we headed south. The plan was to go over more Alpine passes, but as before, the snow levels were just too high and the roads hadn't opened yet in the season. So we had to take a long stretch of motorway, taking us right round the mountains rather than over the top. Never mind, Swiss roads aren't that bad, and neither are their motorways. The road was nice and smooth and dry for once. I mentioned in part 3 that we were above a tunnel, and in front of you now is the southernmost extract point for the fumes in the tunnel. There's also a similar one on the northern side of the pass. Anyway, we kept going down the hill, round the nice sweeping bends, and soon we'd make contact with the tunnel below and join their traffic on a nice, well surfaced, nearly empty dual carriageway. But for now, we'll enjoy these views alone on the road. I think we can all agree that the views off the side of this dual carriageway are somewhat more spectacular than, say, the M11. I've never seen waterfalls cascading down a rock face so dramatically, right next to a motorway. Onwards we go, heading south, around the mountains that we wanted to go over the top of, towards St Gothard's Pass. As you can see, the roads are clear. There's many more roadwork sections to encounter, but the views never disappoint. St Gothard's Pass has two different roads running through it. The original one, the second one which we're on, but also has a tunnel going underneath it, a dual carriageway tunnel and a rail tunnel. So we took the modern road because the original road, which is made of bricks, was still closed. But you can see that from this road once we get higher up. On the way up there's a little restaurant and vantage point, so it would be rude not to stop.
Darling,
Yes?
I love you.
Ah, handy to know. The road you see down there is the road we've come up, the modern road. I'll show you the old road in the next few shots. From the top of St Gothard's we dropped back down into the valley below and picked up the tunnel exit. We headed north, back round more mountains that again we wanted to go across, through tunnels, past lakes. The scenery was always dramatic and it never failed to surprise. We headed towards Interlaken, so called because it's between two lakes, and then headed back up the valley towards our destination of Grindelwald. As promised, this is a view of the old road from the new road stretching up the mountainside. As we said goodbye to the last of the snow on top of the St Gothard's Pass, we headed north, about to drop down into the main valley and join the rest of the world away from this scenic beauty. The road going down the hill was busy, but again in great condition. You don't get any potholes here. We just had to sit on the motorway for an hour or so, just eating those miles up, as the Furka Pass was still shut, the ideal route for us. Never mind, you just soak in the views and take it easy, even when the traffic backs up for a roadwork section. We're not alone, more bikers behind us. Well, I say bikers, they're on Lambrettas, but it's two wheels, so in my book it counts. It was a warm day, 28 degrees, but as long as you keep moving you keep cool. Or doing dance routines on the back of the motorcycle, whichever suits you best. In the last section of roadworks for that day, we encountered the world's slowest McLaren. The man was so slow he even missed one change of traffic lights trying to keep up with the traffic ahead. Never mind, it's his licence, not mine. Up towards Grindelwald now, up the valley. Snow covered mountains again, with clouds wrapped around the tops. The local train service trundling up and down the valley. To be seen, there it is, blue and yellow, nice colour scheme. Anyway, we went higher and higher up to the Grindelwald valley. It's a dead-end road just up to the resort, but again, as you can see, the views never disappoint. Grindelwald was another dual-purpose town, skiing in the winter, walking in the summer, a great backdrop to watch a football match by. As the sun set, it lit the mountain tops. It looks like it's been tampered with on a Photoshop, but trust me, that's the way it looked when I took the photo. Day 10, Grindelwald de Egrishem. We left the Grindelwald Valley down towards Interlaken again, but on the way we turned left and went up its neighbouring valley of Lauterbrunnen. This valley is extremely famous for its steep sides. Just on the other side of those mountains is the Lauterbrunnen Valley. Famous, as I say, for steep-sided valley, but also for base jumpers, parascenders, all those high-octane daredevil sports. Not for me, I'm afraid. I'll stick to the two wheels. That's as daredevil as I want to be. We waved goodbye to one valley, turned the corner, and then went up the next. And what we saw, we couldn't believe. It was stunning, to be honest. I've never seen anything quite like it. I've seen some beautiful views in the Alps, but the Lauterbrunnen Valley just stole the show. It was the last hurrah, really, for our holiday. We couldn't have wished for nicer weather and better views on this day. As I said, Lauterbrunnen doesn't disappoint. Going up the main street of the town, all you can see is the gap in the hills and the waterfall cascading from the very top to the very bottom. There's a hint of snow in the distance, but wow. When you get through town, the town's obviously busy because it's touristy, but you can just swing through the S-bend at the top end of town, look at the church, and in the background you'll see the waterfall cascading down behind it. Continue up the valley, and the valley opens up to the hay meadows, leaving the town behind. And that's the part where the cable car goes up to the top of the cliffs. And there's a campsite, and there's the base jumping landing area. But more of that in a bit. Just the views staggering. If you look carefully ahead, you'll see a yellow and red parachute. Those guys have gone up on the cable car and jumped from the top just to hang in the air currents and land back down to the bottom. We stopped off halfway up the valley for a coffee and just to sit down to admire the countryside we were in. Again, it was early in the morning, about 9:30, 10 o'clock time. There wasn't that many people about, and you could just sit quietly with your own thoughts and just let Mother Nature sink in. Anyway, we had to get on, so we turned round and headed back to where we came from. You could just see a cable car going up the mountain from this view, straight in front. Nice and steady as she goes up. A bit further down the road, we go by the parasanding landing ground, where you'll see a couple of guys just recently landed. More waterfalls cascading from the side. Again, never disappointing. As I said, here's a parachute coming into land from the base jumper. Yellow parachute joining his co-jumper at the front bottom for after another safe jump. Once leaving the Lauterbrunnen valley, we went again past Interlaken and then south of the Cernisee lake. We're now heading into the flatlands of Switzerland towards the French border. Waving goodbye to the mountains. Again, it's a long trip, but we must get to where our destination is. But the roads are good, and so is the weather. So onwards we go towards our destination, going through major towns or past major towns, swinging through past Bern and Basel up to Agata, a lovely little medieval town in the Alsace region. Another delight for the eyes, history lessons and views. The road is long, straight, but quite fast, so it didn't take us long to reach our little hotel. The road on the Cernisee north side is just a normal A road, right next to the lake. All the boathouses stood on their stilts, and the view is wonderful looking south. The south of the lake is where the motorway is, if you want to go quicker, but we chose to do the slower option. As you can see, the weather's overcast, but it's dry. That's the main thing when you've got a lot of miles to do in the day. We kept heading north and waved goodbye to the mountains. Until the next time. Agata is in the Alsace region of eastern France. As you can see, it's medieval style, covered in flowers and trees, and very decorative. It's in the middle of the wine region, and also, because it's Alsace, has many storks' nests. On the church, it's got 3 separate nests. It's highly touristic, but it still keeps its charm. The little narrow streets are filled with artisan shops. You wouldn't be able to get a car down half of these, but they look delightful. Day 11 was going to be a high mileage day, heading back north, past Colmar and just sitting on the dual carriageways and main roads of eastern France. Again, The weather was intermittent, shall we say. We ran into some nice weather, but we also ran into some very damp weather, especially going around the Brussels Ring Road. A road best to be avoided, let's put it like that. 3 lanes of traffic going very, very slowly in the pouring rain. Because we're a motorcycle, obviously, we made best use of this, white lining up the middle of the road, passing them all by. If we were in a car, we would have sat there for at least 40 minutes. This gave us small comfort as the rain was driving down. But the further north we got, we left the rain behind us and hit the long straight road up to Bruges, a town that we've passed many, many times but never stopped. This time we made the effort to stop, and it was well worth it. Leaving Equishem in the morning, we went by Colmar, where we ran into, well, a recognisable statue in a very unrecognisable situation. Perhaps she was on a holiday from New York and decided to spend her summer vacation in Alsace. Some of the locals enjoying the damp weather, taking a break with our little stork we named Alsace. Anyway, Bruges, here we go.
Good morning.
Bonjour.
Goedemorgen.
Mallorca. No, we're in Bruges, not Mallorca.
No,
But the sun is shining for once,
it is.
as opposed to yesterday when it didn't at all. So yeah, we're now going for a mooch around Bruges. See what happens. Field coffee is inevitable.
Bruges has many styles of architecture, some wonderful, beautiful municipal buildings, but there's also old industrial buildings that have been modernised. There's something for everybody in Bruges, and on the day we were there was even a market taking place in the town square. We were recommended to go to a bar. However, we managed to find the said bar, but the owners had gone away on holiday and won't be returning for another 2 weeks. Seems to be the story of our holiday. Things not open. Bruges has a network of canals used traditionally for transporting goods, but now more scenic purposes, transporting tourists around the city. At one point, all the canals were directly connected to the North Sea, but changes in the coastal pattern of Northern Europe means that in the 1700s they had to build another port to serve Bruges. They called it Zeebrugge, or as we now know it as Zeebrugge.
What a beauty!
As well as beautiful E-types, we went on a walking tour of the city, starting near this lake that they called Lovers Lake, and then onto a hermitage area that was set up for women and children in the 1600s. It's a nice, quiet area, and it still has its doors locked at 7 o'clock each night, as it always has done over the years.
Very well for the young people, but only 2 years later, Mary fell from her horse and she
Scusa.
This Tower of Bricks is the third tallest Tower of Bricks in the world.
Bruges Church is a brick-built building, and it is still the third largest tower made from bricks in the world. The statues in this square represent the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Interesting. We walked back into the main town square, where only 3 hours before the bustling market was taking place. Everything has gone. All the lorries, all the stalls, everything. There's no rubbish, and it's just a remarkable sight. We continued our tour around Bruges, but this time on boat. A different perspective on the town altogether.
Okidoki. À votre gauche, le drapeau de Bruges. On the left hand side, the flag of Bruges. Aan de linkerkant de vlag van Brugge. Our flag, notre drapeau. Onze vlag, weliswaar. Some nice examples of the step gable houses. The step because of the facade with the little stairs on the top, the cable because of the black steel that you see on the outside of the walls. It is always connected with a steel cable to the wall on the other side. One of the reasons that all those walls are still so beautiful and straight over. Ici, reservoir de la vieille porte du centre-ville, assis habitamos en l'antigua puerta de Bruges. L'antigua puerta, the oude haven. Cutie cutie pie. He's the only one that got close to them. Look, he's the only one because he took us food. Me, I don't need to tell him. But I can't eat it, not like that. That is how we can let it. Look, the little cygnets. Very beautiful, guys. You don't get to see that every day. Don't attack the boat, please. Op de basis, de basis is weer beter. Dus ik kan het wel houden.
No visit to Bruges would be complete without a few tasting sessions of the local beers.
Shall we start from the liver? Do you think this is the liver beer?
4, number 4. Says on
What? Amber core beer with a soft fruity initial taste of
nugget, yeah.
and final taste of banana. Na zdrowie. Cheers.
Cheers. Delirium, strong beer, so watch out, don't drink too much. 8.5.
What will happen if you will drink too much?
You'll see pink elephants. Oh, that's nice. You didn't, did you?
This wall allegedly shows a bottle of each beer produced in Bruges over the years. As you can see, there's over 2,000 beer bottles. This is just one side of the wall, it's the same on the other side of the alley. A considerable effort. So that was Bruges in a nutshell. A very nice town and well worth a stop. So now it's homeward bound. After a good 12 days on the road, over 2,700 miles completed, back onto the shuttle to head home. It's been a fantastic trip and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. Thank you for watching and hopefully see you on our next trip.